A group of troublemakers decides to harass a beekeeper by damaging his fake beehives and knocking over his honey storage shelf. Taunting him as he hides, they unknowingly shoot at the retired special ops beekeeper, who skillfully takes them down. Only the leader remains, frightened by his defeated friends. As he retreats, he accidentally startles the beekeeper by destroying more fake beehives. Shifting to a different scenario, a few days earlier, beekeeper Adam Clay, preparing to collect a beehive, encounters his elderly neighbor Eloise Parker. Intrigued by the beehive, Eloise asks about Clay's intentions. Despite being private, Clay respectfully explains it concerns him and the bees. Eloise, a kind neighbor, respects his privacy. Seizing the opportunity, Clay expresses gratitude to Eloise, acknowledging her as his sole caregiver in recent years. Touched, she appreciates his sentiments and invites him to dinner before he departs. Later, Clay stuns the bees for relocation. Meanwhile, Eloise, using her computer, falls victim to a scam after engaging with someone named Boy, unaware of the impending danger due to her limited computer knowledge. Complying with Boy's instructions to avoid data loss, Eloise unwittingly discloses her bank password, containing funds for a program helping underprivileged children return to school. In moments, her bank account is emptied, and the scammers celebrate their ill-gotten gains. Frustrated and despondent, Eloise realizes she fell prey to a scam. After finishing his work, Clay heads to Eloise's house and finds smoke and a blaring smoke detector. Turning it off, he discovers Eloise dead from a gunshot wound. Verona, Eloise's daughter, and a police officer find Clay at the scene, subduing him. Expressing regret, Clay clarifies he was invited to dinner. Investigators consider suicide, but Verona insists on interrogating Clay while inspecting Eloise's belongings. The next day, Verona discovers her mother's empty bank account on the laptop, proving Clay's innocence. Verona, seeing him at his workplace, apologizes, and they have coffee. Verona shares her brother's army death and her mother's charity work. She reveals her mother's suicide reason, finding out her bank account was empty due to a scam. Moved, Clay excuses himself to attend to the bees. He heads directly to the beehive, retrieves a transmitter, activates it, and communicates with an agent who expresses surprise at his supposed retirement. Ignoring her comment, Clay requests assistance in tracing the scamming company's location. Later that day, he arrives at the company holding gas tanks. Security stops him, declaring it's private property. Clay bluntly states his intention to burn the company down. Despite the guards attempting to draw their guns, Clay swiftly overpowers them. Inside the main office, he confronts the scammers, who mock his promise not to exploit others. Clay, determined, hits one with a telephone and demands compliance. Fearing him, the scammers obey, and Clay instructs them to escape before he sets the place ablaze. Emptying gas tanks over computers, he encounters a boy, revealed as Garnett, with guards. Despite Garnett's anger, Clay defeats them without firearms. Offering Garnett an escape, Clay mentions bombs set to detonate if a victim calls. He departs before the explosion, leaving Garnett to inform his furious boss, Derek Danforth. Danforth, seeking revenge, deceives high-ranking CIA official Wallace West, falsely claiming a friend's call center was burned. West urges Clay to work for him, but Clay declines. Verona receives a call from her partner W.Y. about the incident related to her mother's case. She arrives at the burned crime scene. Garnett and his accomplices seek revenge, targeting Clay's bee farm. They damage beehives, topple a honey-filled cabinet armed with guns, and arrogantly call for Clay as they search. Unaware, they shoot at Clay's silhouette, but he cleverly eliminates them one by one, leaving Garnett alone. Terrified by his men's fate, Garnett backs into Clay while begging for his life. Clay grabs his hand and guides it into a steel cutting machine, detaching all fingers from his right hand. As Garnett screams in pain, Clay departs. Meanwhile, Verona confronts a scamming company employee heatedly, but W.Y. intervenes, reminding her of the man's civil rights. After a struggle, Garnett, now fingerless, drives away and attempts to contact his boss, Derek, who initially assumes Garnett is reporting success while receiving a massage. Despite Garnett's apology for the failed attempt on Clay's life, Derek queries about Clay's identity. Garnett only knows him as a beekeeper who stores honey. During the report, Clay unexpectedly appears, delivering a punch to Garnett's face. Desperate, Garnett offers money in crypto, but Clay is after his life, not his wealth. Using a long seat belt attached to his car, Clay ties up Garnett and starts the car, pulling him towards a lake. Clay then seizes Garnett's phone, threatening Derek that he'll suffer the same fate as his company. Concerned about Clay's capabilities, Derek turns to West Wild. Lying about his business, Derek portrays it as a data mining company. West Wild, aware of Clay's actions, concludes that Derek has crossed paths with the wrong person and mentions Clay as the beekeeper. He emphasizes that he's only helping Derek for the sake of his mother's reputation, despite tolerating Derek's past crimes. Unexpectedly, West Wild confesses to being the beekeeper and warns Derek of potential trouble at the police department. Verona and WY discuss cases related to the call center, with Verona eager to investigate further and dismantle their main headquarters. Despite her enthusiasm, WY seems less engaged. Their attempt to gather information about Clay yields only his birth certificate. A call informs WY of Garnett's body discovery. Simultaneously, news of Clay's actions reaches Jessica Danforth, Derek's mother. In debt to her, West Wild is instructed to protect Derek, leaving him no choice. West Wild contacts Janet, a high-ranking CIA official, seeking assistance to neutralize the beekeeper. Verona and WY arrive at the crime scene, finding Garnett's body with all fingers on his right hand severed. Confused, West Wild contacts Janet again, questioning why Clay, a former special ops officer known as the beekeeper, is now a problem. She reassures West Wild, saying she contacted Ed, the current beekeeper, to handle Clay. Despite her attempts to calm him, West Wild remains anxious, expressing concern that the current beekeepers differ significantly from the original ones. Ignoring his apprehension, she contacts one of them to eliminate Clay while he is refueling. As Clay puts gas in his car, a vehicle crashes behind him. A woman with an M4A1 shoots at his car, discovering it's empty when she checks inside. Mistakenly pointing at the wrong person at the gas station, she unintentionally shoots and kills a police officer. Capitalizing on the chaos, Clay attacks her with a gas pump nozzle. Despite her attempt to retaliate with a knife, Clay outmaneuvers her. When he reveals her reserve pistol, Clay vanishes from her sight. Frustrated, she rides at the back of her truck, using a Gatling gun recklessly. Unfazed, Clay calmly returns to his car, retrieving a jar of honey. With force, he hurls it at her face, rendering her unconscious. It takes only a jar of honey for Clay to incapacitate the woman. Igniting a lighter, he tosses it towards her, causing her to scream in agony as she attempts to crawl and extinguish the fire. Approaching her burning corpse, Clay cuts her finger. Shortly after, West Wild receives a call from Janet, informing him that the issue remains unresolved. While West Wild acknowledges the obvious, Agent Vicky, who provided intel support, will now stay neutral. Janet informs him that he's on his own from now on, leading to his mix of fury and pressure. The following day, Verona and WY investigate another crime scene orchestrated by Clay. They discover a Gatling gun used by the beekeeper woman and a book about bees. Meanwhile, West Wild takes a different approach to neutralize Clay. He convenes a meeting with former SEAL Team and Army Rangers, revealing the secret program of beekeepers, an independent mechanism with a singular mission to safeguard the nation. Beekeepers have access to abundant resources and the authority to act based on their judgment. Operating covertly, they maintain confidential identities. West Wild proceeds to display Clay's information on the screen. Emphasizing the beekeepers' preference for secrecy, West Wild warns them to anticipate surprise attacks. While one member claims similarity to beekeepers, West Wild strongly disagrees, asserting that they are nowhere near that level. However, he suggests that as a group, they might have a chance against Clay at the police department. Meanwhile, Verona reads a book about bees, discovering the existence of queen bee slayers who eliminate their queen if deemed incompetent. As they discuss bees, they receive a call notifying them of Deputy Director PR's desire for a meeting. Simultaneously, Clay accesses their old headquarters using the severed finger, returning discreetly. Verona and WY eventually meet with PR. Verona succinctly briefs them on Clay, highlighting his next target, the 9th Star United, another call center with a similar function. PR approves her request for SWAT team surveillance and analysts. The director of the upcoming fraud call center is Rico Anzalone, another arrogant scammer. The news about 9th Star United spreads, and the FBI, tasked with raiding the building and arresting Clay, faces resistance from the group of mercenaries hired by West Wild. The mercenaries enter, aiming to shut down the scammers and locate Clay. Rico engages in a conversation with their leader, bringing them to the office. Outside, Clay attempts to inform the FBI about an alternative entrance at the back and cooperate with them. Misunderstanding him as a civilian, the leader orders his subordinates to detain Clay, who promptly breaks his hand. Despite the heavily armored FBI attempting to subdue him, Clay overwhelms them, taking one as a hostage, leading to a ceasefire inside the office. Rico taunts the leader and contacts Derek. When Derek answers, he rebukes the man, emphasizing West Wild's authority. As they prepare to establish a perimeter outside, Clay disrupts the scammers, causing chaos. The mercenaries attempt to eliminate him with gunfire, but Clay evades and attacks from above. He ambushes the remaining mercenaries, killing 3. In a showdown with their leader, Clay uses a fire extinguisher to finish him off. Verona and the SWAT team arrive as Clay sets up a trap. The final wave of mercenaries attempts to shoot him, but he lures them into the elevator, using a trap to eliminate them. Moving on, he confronts Rico and interrogates him, employing a stapler to extract information through torture. Eventually, Rico confesses, presenting a photo of Derek, claiming he is untouchable due to his powerful connections. Clay, unfazed by this revelation, emphasizes that beekeepers act independently. He compares Derek to a queen bee, stating he would eliminate the queen if proven defective. Verona arrives, prompting Clay to make a swift escape. Meanwhile, WY, separated from the team, encounters Clay, pleading for his life, citing 4 kids. Clay disarms him, leaves, and continues investigating. Verona and WY are shocked to discover a laptop with Derek's image in an upscale hotel. West Wild receives a call, learning that all his mercenaries are deceased. He excuses himself, suggesting to Derek that they seek Jessica's assistance. A surprising twist unfolds as Jessica, answering her son's call, is revealed to be the President of the United States. Meanwhile, Verona and WY report back to Prig, sharing details about seeing Derek Danforth. Verona reveals Jessica's tarnished reputation due to campaign funds originating from her son's company. Stressed, Prig urges them not to disclose this classified information. Verona speculates that Clay's next target is the President. The next day, the partners head to the Danforth estate, encountering private police armed with heavy weapons. Derek, West Wild, and Lazarus, a hired protector, engage in arrogance. Lazarus dismisses Derek's bravado, showcasing his steel right leg, earned from killing a beekeeper before. As the President arrives, Clay takes action, emerging from the sewers, timing his ascent from a manhole beneath a vehicle, concealing himself. Amid heightened security, Clay silences an agent checking beneath the vehicle, disguising himself as a Secret Service agent. In the estate room, Derek indulges in drugs while his mother, unaware of his deeds, checks on him, reassuring him. Simultaneously, Clay continues his strategic movements. Placing bombs in various cars, Clay changes his outfit inside the estate and seamlessly integrates into the party. During the event, Verona and WY observe PRI conversing with the president. Concerned, Jessica takes Derek and PR into a room, initiating an interrogation about Derek's connections to the scam-related groups. Meanwhile, Verona spots Clay, alerts security, and pursues him. However, she mistakes another individual for Clay. Eventually, Lazarus and Verona apprehend him, unaware of Clay's hidden plan. Kneeling with his hand on his head, Clay seems compliant as Verona prepares to arrest him. When Lazarus aims to execute him, West Wild signals to proceed. Verona attempts to intervene, but as Lazarus is about to pull the trigger, Clay triggers the bomb setup, stunning everyone. Seizing the moment, he disarms Lazarus and shoots him in the mouth before swiftly subduing the others and escaping. Verona and WY, shocked, are unable to react in time. Inside the estate room, Lazarus, with a bullet in his mouth, survives. It's revealed that Jessica is oblivious to the call center scams, and her son is on the run. Despite Derek's attempts to explain, his mother expresses profound disappointment. Derek continues confessing that his actions were influenced by his mother, even with PRI present. Despite Derek's attempts to sway his mother's support, Jessica firmly rejects him. Jessica boldly declares her intention to reveal the truth, even if it jeopardizes everything she has worked for, acting resolutely. Meanwhile, the untouchable and fierce Clay effortlessly takes down numerous adversaries, advancing upstairs without breaking a sweat. As a relentless killing machine, he faces multiple guards on his way. Upon reaching the upstairs room, Lazarus ambushes him, engaging in a fierce battle of strength. Despite Clay managing to stab Lazarus in the face, the resilient opponent withstands the attack like a zombie. In the course of the fight, Lazarus counterattacks, stabbing Clay in the abdomen. Clay, resourceful, removes the knife and turns it to his advantage, repeatedly stabbing Lazarus and acquiring his brass knuckles. Despite Lazarus's formidable endurance, he succumbs to multiple stabs and punches. WY and Verona witness the intense encounter upstairs, likening it to a tornado passing by West Wild. Inside the room, they attempt to persuade West Wild to reconsider, acting as a conscience. Panicking, Derek grabs a gun from the cabinet, accidentally shooting Prig influenced by the effects of coke. Clay breaks in, and Verona and WY enter the room, witnessing the tense situation. Derek takes his own mother hostage. As Derek is about to shoot his mom, Clay intervenes, shooting him in the head and saving the president. Quickly, Clay jumps out the window to escape. Jessica, confronted with her lifeless son, cries in agony, a poignant conclusion to the movie. Verona follows Clay as he escapes, halting him with a shout of his name. Instead of arresting him, she expresses gratitude and slowly lowers her gun as a sign of respect. She gazes at him as he jumps from the balcony and bids him farewell. Clay heads to the seashore, retrieves his scuba diving suit before the police notice, and dives into the sea. Thanks for tuning in to our latest video. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, share this video with your friends, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your support means the world to us. Stay tuned for more exciting content. Until next time, happy watching.